G'day, welcome to New Game Plus, Crinj here, and we're recording at home because we do not have a TV studio. The TV studio we would usually be using is in Melbourne, and Melbourne is still in stage 4 lockdown, so we're recording from home. We're going to be working out a lot of the kinks of recording online over the coming weeks, so please bear with us, but this week we've got a lot of good content coming up. Meg, Em, and Jason are going to be joining me in a moment to talk Ghost of Tsushima, which is Sony's latest action RPG open world adventure situation, and we're going to be talking Fall Guys as well, which is battle royale online multiplayer, basically to catch this castle or wipeout. If you've seen those shows, you know what the game is, but we get into a lot of the specifics on some of the mini games that we love and hate, and how some people can just grief and be exhausting. That's all coming up later on in the show, but first, here are the gaming news headlines of the week. And we're starting off with the Xbox Series X, which is officially launching in November 2020. Microsoft, in an Xbox Wire article, said... we have plenty to keep you busy until Chief arrives. There'll be thousands of games to play, spanning 4 generations when Xbox Series X launches globally this November. The company has long been promising 4 generations of games, building on its effort to deliver backward compatibility, going all the way back to the original Xbox. Older games will run with a variety of improvements on the Xbox Series X, according to Microsoft, such as high dynamic range and increased frame rates. The company also has plans to release a second next-gen Xbox called Xbox Series S. According to Eurogamer, the Series S, codenamed Lockhart, is expected to be a lower-cost console and equivalent of this generation's Xbox Series S, or Xbox One S from this generation. The Xbox Series X... There are so many names. I'll address that in a second. Xbox Series X, on the other hand...
The Xbox titles are kind of like the Rambo titles.
It's too much.
Yeah. I'm going to stop you right there and say, imagine if you were old granny buying the next current Xbox and their kids going, I don't understand, like, which one's the latest one?
They're heading into Wii U territory, and that's never good.
Basically, there's the Xbox Series X. That has been confirmed to launch in November 2020. The Xbox Series X, which is the weaker next-gen console, that has not been confirmed.
Series S is the weaker one.
S? What did I say? Jesus.
You said X, it's fine.
Series S is the weaker one, codenamed Lockhart. That has not been confirmed, but we have seen leaks of a controller in white that suggests it's for the Xbox Series S, the weaker one.
That's right.
Meg, you are one of the few people that is very much into Xbox. You are one of the few people that I know that owns an Xbox One X. I hate these names. I hate these names so much.
Are you not on New Game Plus Discord? Like, we are a bunch of Xbots. What are you talking about?
You don't have an Xbox One X, mate. Like, you're just like...
Because I knew the new generation was coming, so why would I buy it when I could just wait? Like, what's the difference?
Because it's going to be money. Like, Meg, the series... The One X was... It was $750 at launch, wasn't it?
Yeah, basically it's up there. I think what we've seen in previous, generations of hardware is that it peaks with a really expensive cost and the games are around $100 each. And then after about 6 months to 9 months later, it does drop to a normal, the $70 price point for games. And maybe the $599, $499 with X amount of games. Doesn't depreciate too much, but it'll definitely launch at a really high price point. I think people have to be prepared for that.
You don't think so, Jason?
Disagree, Meg. I disagree 100%.
Really?
I think here's how the next generation is going to go. $650 maximum for Xbox Series X. $650 maximum Australian, right? Sony will come out at $750 because they don't know what they're doing anymore. All the good people have left.
People are still going to buy it for PlayStation, though.
They will.
Well, people will, and they know. It's because like what they did with the PS3. It's like the thing is, in PS2 and PS3 era, they had the DVD and the Blu-ray players respectively to drive it. But remember, like PlayStation 3 was $1,000 if you wanted the higher key console.
And the only games that were available was like Gran Turismo 5.
Yeah, and let's not start on Gran Turismo 5. I can see now was on there.
It was a tough launch.
Yeah, and so and then
Little Big Planet was a good memory though.
Anyway, so I think you're looking at $650 for Series X. I think you're looking at probably the price point of the One X at the moment, maybe a little bit more, maybe $500, maybe $550. Doubt it'll go up much higher than that. And that'll be your Xbox One X kind of power equivalent. It'll be a little bit stronger, obviously, but that's what they're going for because they've discontinued the One X. They haven't discontinued the One S. No. So you can still buy the One S. I reckon you'll be able to buy it for 2 years afterwards because most of the games that they've got in development now will work on it. And then
2 years?
That's
a year and a half. Long tail, mate.
I reckon till after next Christmas, that's when they'll discontinue it. So I reckon you've at least got another 18 months where you can buy a One S. Not that you would. I mean, they'll go cheap. They'll go for like $200. But like, Yeah, I don't. I genuinely think, Meg, that this time they're going to compete on price, because that was one of the other things after the horrific showing that Matrick did at Thing.
Yep.
You had House and all these smart boys jump on it. They just capitalized on it, and then they come at $50 cheaper USD, all that kind of stuff. Don't think Phil's going to let him get away with it this time. I think he's a bit smarter than that. I just, the reason no one said the price is because they're running down the gauntlet, and I think that hurts Sony more than it does Microsoft, because Microsoft kind of don't care if you buy the Series X. Like, they want you to buy Game Pass. They want you in the Game Pass. They want you on for 3 years of Game Pass. Like, because you played on your PC. They don't care. Whereas Sony needs to sell consoles. So I think they're playing chicken with Sony. They're like, announce your price. We'll just come out $100 cheaper. It's fine.
They've already done it with the date,
ready.
obviously. If they've dropped the date and Sony's still like, oh, like they have, we know they've both held back. Now they've dropped the date. It's a matter of time before price.
They're
and
trying
Sony
to push. Exactly. Exactly. And I think obviously COVID changes the situation a little bit. Like they say COVID's the reason that Halo was delayed. I reckon it was because 343 haven't made they made Halo 4. And then the last 2 Halo games have been awful. So, you know what I mean?
I want to car park Halo for now. Are we actually moving on?
Yeah, I'm about to go into Halo Infinite. Yep.
Yeah, okay, cool.
Let's do that. Halo Infinite has been delayed to 2021. 343 Industries studio head Chris Lee made the announcement Tuesday, published on social media and the Halo Infinite blog. Lee said the decision to hold the game until 2021 was made due to multiple factors, including the ongoing COVID-related impacts. He noted that it's not sustainable for the team to rush it out for this holiday when Microsoft's Xbox Series X is slated for its launch. On July 23rd, the studio debuted its first gameplay trailer for Halo Infinite. Response from fans was mixed, however. A lot of criticism was aimed at Halo Infinite's graphics and whether they were next-gen enough. Microsoft's Xbox Games marketing manager Aaron Greenberg said Halo Infinite was a work in progress, noting there was enough time before the holiday launch date. Yeah, that feels like a really... I mean, we haven't had an Xbox launching with a Halo game since the original, I believe. So he doesn't necessarily buck that trend, because Halo 3 certainly didn't launch with 360.
That's true. No, you're right. No, I'm just thinking back. Yeah. You're absolutely right. 3 didn't come out... 360 had a decent launch, so I'm pretty sure.
Perfect Dark Zero. How can you argue with that?
What's wrong with Perfect Dark Zero? That's right. Forza games sell to normies, so there's your dad market.
I'm right here.
I think this is going to be one of those interesting cultural moments, because they're saying we don't want to crunch our people through COVID, right? Which I think is an admirable thing to say. Whether or not it's true,
it's a big deal.
So. Yeah, but people are still going to be like, haha, you're not releasing it for launch, all those kind of things. So I think it's going to be one of those times where we could actually reflect as a culture and go, are we okay with this? Are we okay with saying, haha, you guys suck because you didn't release it? When the reason that they're saying they held it back was because they didn't want to crunch their people. So we got to pick what we're okay with.
I'd love to rebut you on that. Yeah. And I'm going to say that I thought the trailer that they launched at their E3 equivalent presentation in July this year was one of the most underwhelming Halo trailers I've ever seen in my career.
I disagree.
And I actually was mind blown that they pitch that as next gen. And I want to be able to say that utilizing all the listening tools they would have had on the press conference when they launched that is that the reception wasn't what they were hoping for, and that they've pivoted and said, let's push it. So to be honest, I'm sure the graphics are going to be bloody beautiful, but nothing about what I saw makes me feel like this is the next step in that franchise that makes me want to get out of bed and go to the shops and buy it. Not that I would ever do that anyway.
This goes back to that idea that they're releasing on both platforms. You know what I mean? Yeah. You buy it on one, you get it on both, kind of thing. And I'm pretty sure that they were saying the matchmaking pool consists between the two. So it's just like a higher and low spec version. But I agree, and that's why they tried to preface it. You remember at the start of that video, it was like Halo Infinite gameplay demo. So they tried to say,
yes, because they had complaints they didn't show trailers with gameplay. So they launched with it, and that was a great decision. You're right.
Yeah. So that's what I say, but I think at the same time, that's why, again, this is that mindset of as much as it's nice, the new lie, and Square Enix and Sony have been all over it, is, fully produced in engine. It's you'd fucking hope so. You know what I mean? You'd hope that you're releasing stuff that's in engine. Jesus Christ. That shouldn't be a controversial statement.
And what did you think of the Halo trailer? Did you check it out when they were streaming it live?
I have a confession, and I've never owned an Xbox.
Oh,
and I know that is like getting my gamer card revoked.
No, not even.
But I like always had a PlayStation and like was always a PlayStation person, and like wasn't allowed to play games until like a lot later in my life.
No, I get that for sure.
So yeah, I've had to catch up on a lot of stuff. So I'm not super involved in what Microsoft is doing, which is why I kind of want to buy this new generation of Xbox, because it'll be my first one.
Yeah,
so I'm, like,
totally
excited. And also, I've just found out about Game Pass and how you can get like all these games, and I'm like, okay,
well,
like a monthly subscription for free games.
It's also worth pointing out that we mentioned earlier the Xbox One X has been discontinued, but it's also worth pointing out that Xbox Live Gold 12-month subscriptions have been pulled from Microsoft as well. Yeah. So I'm very much of the mind. Go on.
No, you go. You had a theory. I was
of the mind that they are edging closer and closer towards making Gold a monthly subscription. They've got 3 and 6 month there. They're going to wean people off it. And it's like, look, you're going to pay 5, you're going to pay 10. Or they'll remove it all together and say it's Xbox Xbox Game Pass or Ultimate or bust. They will get rid of Gold entirely. Maybe they might even make online free, because Microsoft has been on a pretty good
That's the correct answer.
Yeah.
What's worth, Jack? That's the correct answer. Multiplayer will become free because the Azure servers are so good. Microsoft Azure servers are so good for business, for everything. They don't need to upfront those hardware costs anymore. They don't need to justify those hardware costs. But I think you're right. I think they'll get rid of Gold, they'll wean it out, and then come 6 months, 12 months time, it'll be cool. Or what they'll do eventually is they'll just convert everyone's Gold to Ultimate.
I would hope
to Game Pass Ultimate.
Well, that'd be hot. I really hope that they would say in the lead up to Xbox Series X launch, if you have Xbox Live Gold, we have converted everyone to Ultimate. Gold doesn't exist anymore. You are getting Xbox Series X multiplayer, Xbox multiplayer for free, full stop. And I think that's a fantastic move to pull, because it absolutely puts Sony on the back foot. They were already on the back foot on crossplay. They are currently on the back foot on PlayStation Plus. It really just makes sense.
It me to stay with that brand, stay with that console, and consider upgrading if they were to naturally evolve me to that next level. So
the only thing I would add is Gamescom is still technically doing something, and I reckon they'll do like an online event. TGS are doing one as well, like hence it puts spanners in the works of my usual September trip. I think So I think we'll see. Obviously, they've both announced they'll do some more in August. They haven't announced what yet, but I think they're finding. I think Microsoft have learned the lesson that don't announce your things 3 weeks in advance. It gives people too much time to get it hyped. Sony have learned where, we're going to do a direct, and they'll give you 5 days notice. I learned the Nintendo thing is like you got 5 days to fester in the kind of the unknown. Because I think in the old days, when information traveled slower, it was magazines, it was whatever. It was fine to let it stew for 6 months. Yeah, because you talk to your mates in the schoolyard or whatever, and it'd be different of like, what do we think it's going to be? What do we think it's going to do? Whereas now you jump online, and because it's just the cascade of information, the cascade of like that conversation continues so fast, there's no way that you can control it even over 3 weeks. You know what I mean? I think I still agree with you, Meg, that it was an underwhelming trailer because it's not what people want out of Halo for one. Who cares about an open world in Halo? I'm okay with corridors. I'm playing Halo. It's fine.
We need a narrative. We need a strong story. We care about Master Chief. You've spent 20 years building up this incredible character and a relationship with Cortana. And
exactly. And you've got to resolve that. Yeah. And
to show the same enemy types, the same weapons, the same spaceships, and the 4x4 machine. I'm so sorry, I don't know the name of it, but honestly, it wasn't fresh.
Warthog.
Yes. Thank you. Why do I pay you the big bucks, Jack?
I was like,
you're good.
Oh, the big bucks. Yeah, here on New Game Plus TV.
It looks, I call it Chupacabra, but that's right. And so, I agree. I think that's, I don't know. Microsoft's in an interesting spot. I think the thing that draws people to Game Pass isn't inherently their exclusives. Although, don't get me wrong, I'm a Gears nerd. I'll play Halo. I've got all that thing attached to it. But I think
anyway, it's not even a thing.
Yeah. Agreed.
Anyway. Yeah.
Yes, moving on. Cheaters and Fall Guys are getting banned. Instead of relying on individual reports from players, developer Mediatronic has improved its detection tools. A wave of bans have gone out, clearing Fall Guys of cheaters. Some cheats that allow players to bypass These cheats allow players to bypass start countdowns, move at ludicrous speeds, jump incredibly high, and teleport. They do this to either pick up easy wins and therefore crowns, or troll either players. We've had a system in place since day one, which has been learning through the actions of our honest players. Fall Guys technical director Rory Marquis said, we've now started using this to tune our approach in detecting and addressing cheaters. This is something we will continue to do with the support of the community, whose help has been key to keeping Fall Guys a world of beans who just want to have fun. Fall Guys has sold over 2 million copies on Steam during its first week on sale, according to Devolver Digital.
This is definitely an old clip. You've got real names. It's all Fall Guy 1742 now. I haven't seen it. I think Australia's server is so small that maybe
as it turns out,
I think this is the thing. Like, it's Devolver, so it's that thing of like Devolver are technically they're not a big company now, but they're obviously they're big indie.
They're massive indie, yeah,
but
for sure.
But Mediatonic, I think they're only like 20 people or something like that. They're a tiny studio. Like I met them at PAX last year, and
isn't this a debut title from them? Or?
It is. It's their first one. Yeah. And they're a British dev. I'm pretty. The guy sounded British. Maybe he was. Yeah. Anyway.
He spoke good English. He sounds British.
All English people sound the same to me. It's fine. And chatting to him about it and stuff. And obviously, even then you could tell they were flexing on that Takeshi's Castle kind of thing. And I think I don't think they realized how big the groundswell would be for it. Like it's. For weeks, it's been the number one. Like for the 2 weeks it's been out, it's been inside of the top 10 games on Twitch. Yeah, but for the 2 weeks it's been out. Like, it's been in the top 10 games on Twitch. Yeah, and that's a big deal for some like random small indie title. And keep in mind, at the same time, Devolver just released Carrion. They released Carrion 3 weeks ago, so it was like Carrion into this, and Carrion's
gone up as well.
Yeah. So,
more releases than Nintendo at this point. Nintendo's got nothing.
Yeah.
I think the world needs Fall Guys right now.
I think that's where Animal Crossing came out at the perfect time. Fall Guys came out at the perfect time. COVID has worked for certain titles over others. I think Ghost of Tsushima, I don't think it'll do the numbers that Sony want. Because you got to remember, it's all based on expectation. If you're expected to sell 5 million, you sell 4.5 million.
It's already sold 4.5 million. What do you mean?
It's done. I use this as an example. I still don't. I think internally the numbers that Sony had attached to it are they sent it out in the dead time. Well, what they thought would be the dead time. So I think, from my point of view, I think they would have gone because the last game they released it like this was Days Gone, and Days Gone was a bit crap. So because this time of year's dead. This time of year, as a general rule, it's E3 time. No one cares. Like you send out either stuff to tide you over or stuff that's going to keep a couple of million sales. Maybe it went up a little bit because of COVID, but games like Animal Crossing is 22 million copies. 22 million copies of Animal Crossing.
But I think even if it wasn't released during COVID, it still would have done numbers like that.
I don't think it would have done 22. 10 absolutely. I think 10 would have been fine. Yeah,
I agree with Emily. Yeah. I actually totally do. I think it was. I think the word has spread faster because there's more boredom, being like, "What can we play?" But I think the fact that it's online, I think that says a lot. But what do you guys think about the fact that the Fall Guys developer team have made this call and said, "Let's get rid of all the cheaters because it actually will affect the lifespan of people playing the game."
In a big way. Yeah, definitely will.
I honestly think it's justified because I don't understand people who cheat because it takes away the whole integrity of why you're playing the game.
Yeah, well, I mean,
people have sad egos and small PPs is the answer, unfortunately. So yeah.
And you can see exactly how they operate on New Game Plus TV. Twitch.tv/New Game Plus TV when Cardi's playing Fall Guys. I don't mind losing. It's not. And I agree with you. I don't understand the idea of cheating. I think if you're doing it in a single player game, who cares? You play it how you want to play it. I think there's an argument for preserving the artist vision and all that. That's fine. But when we're playing GTA, I mean artist vision anyway. But for multiplayer games, it's imagine I pity them in the sense that I'd still rip their face off, but I pity them in the sense that it's how sad must your life be that you've got to cheat at this game? How bad is life going for you?
Over the main meta that you have to
exactly.
break it.
Also, it comes down to the fact that right now. Also, quick sidebar, Mediatronic is certainly not a new studio. They worked on Gears Pop, which I think Meg might be the only person who knows that game exists.
Lord.
But they've been making games, sorry Meg, but they've been making games back to 2005, so they've been around for a while.
Okay, so they have been around.
But right now, I think Mediatronic, and I guess by extension Devolver, are in a position to address cheaters, but not yet in a position to address their server issues. Because if they could have resolved that, they would have already, and that has not been the case. So
I don't think they were expecting anywhere close to this number. You know what I mean? Like, $2 million for a game like this. You know, and then keep in mind that that's not including Game Pass. The other one, what's the shitty one? PlayStation Plus. PlayStation Plus numbers. That's not including the play. There's a free download for PlayStation Plus. There's I think there's 5 million, 6 million. No, there's more because it's the online service. Yeah. I'm thinking PlayStation Go with no one plays PlayStation Go. But like, obviously, so I told you I don't hate the concept of PlayStation Home, but like everything Sony does, it just they send it out to die. But yeah, you backed me. You got me good. But like, no, I think. You know, so all those millions of people would download because it's free and it's easy. And look at the art for it. You download that for your kids, it's fine. You know what I mean? Like,
it's very awesome. And sidebar, some of the guys on Plus have been Twitch streaming Fall Guys this week, so it's definitely picking up a lot of traction.
Oh, definitely. It's just such an easy stream game because, like, the amount of screw-ups, the amount of banter that it leaves room for as well. I don't think that if you lose a crap load of games back-to-back, it doesn't feel as... Like, you can't soldier on like you can in an Overwatch, because Overwatch you can lose 6 games in a row and be like, sure, I'll just keep going. But Fall Guys is like particularly frustrating at times, but it's still a very, very good game.
It's also really nice for like someone like me who has not played a lot of online multiplayers. It's really welcoming to new players.
And the vibe is definitely
feel, like really overwhelming. It's just fun.
It's a simple concept. Like, it's a simple concept where eventually you learn the tricks. It's like, all right, cool. So I remember the first time we did the one where the 3 teams have the ball and they've got to push the ball from one end of the map to the other. And so I remember we're doing it. We're pushing the ball along. And this one guy just runs off, and he runs off to the end. I'm like, why did that guy run off the end? This seems dumb. And then I realized when we got to the end, we drop it off the first cliff. He was like blocking the other teams from pushing their ball down. I'm like, that makes. But they'd already done the same.
Was that the soccer one?
I hate
No, not the soccer one. The soccer one, soccer one, I always play goalie because no one knows how to play goalie. But like, with the one where they're on like a line, like red, yellow, blue.
Yeah, you've got to get that.
Everyone
first.
pushes the ball. Like, you have a team of like 7. You push the ball down. You got to get it into the goal first, and then whoever's furthest along gets the point. For, like the second place, and then third place is eliminated. Yeah. But so the idea is that like you want to stop the other people from pushing the ball. And so I didn't know what he was doing. He ran off, and I'm like, what's this guy's game? Like, do we have another scrub? And he ran off and he was holding the ball up for the red team. And I'm like, that makes sense. And so it's such a simple thing because you've only got 3 buttons you can really use. And I'm like, I hadn't even considered that until I saw it happen. And so you see the evolution of strategies based on that. It's borderline emergent in that it's like, here are the tools you're given. Here's the best way to accomplish X, Y, Z. And so eventually you learn the best time to do headers in soccer and the best time to, all those things kind of come naturally eventually. But like you say, it's really welcoming. It's a simple concept. It's dive, jump, and that's it. You know what I mean? Like,
I would even go on the back of that. I burned out on like Zoom calls with my friends on Friday nights and Saturday nights, and we got over that stuff so quickly. Whereas like, my daily to day, Monday to Friday is death by Zoom calls. But now seeing a game like Fall Guys, I can get behind that. And, it's a different way to hang out with your friends and actually socialize without being exhausting. It's just mindless entertainment and pick up and play anytime. So
it's real simple. It's not like PUBG where you need to learn a quick scope, you need to learn all these things. It's not like Fortnite where you need to learn to build, any of those kind of things. Its simplicity is its strength.
Jump and dive.
But then at the same time there is certainly a meta to it. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. Like it's when you're doing these things, you want to jump at certain points, and there's certain shortcuts that you figure out as time goes on and stuff like that.
That's what you
I told you I couldn't do it. As long as it's not land, it'll be fine. Like I couldn't do it. But just beat some kid up, no, but like I agree 100%. Like I'm with you, Emily. I think that's probably its advantages, that it is so easy to play, easy to pick up and play. That gives it that longevity that I hope it has. And I think the more they introduce maps, and they've done the first season, when they do the second season, I'm sure they'll introduce this, and then they'll start doing challenges, and they'll start doing private rooms, and I think from there it'll just grow up and up and up from there.
Yeah.
Good stuff. Guess we will move on now to some Sega and Atlas news. We can look forward to more Sega and Atlas PC ports. They are likely on the way. The success of Persona 4 Golden on Steam has prompted Sega to consider porting more of its catalog to PC in the future. The critically acclaimed JRPG has sold over 500,000 copies on Steam since its release on June 14th. Quote, because of Persona 4 Golden's critical acclaim and its low selling price, sales were much stronger than expected. We will continue to actively promote porting previously released titles to Steam and new platforms, end quote, said Haruki Satomi, Sega's president and group COO. This internal shift is likely to result in more Sega ports arriving on PC, particularly from Persona developer Atlas. Catherine, the studio's adult-flavored puzzle game, launched on Steam in January 2019, and Sega's latest stance means we could potentially see Persona 3 and Persona 5 hit PC at some point in the future, along with any upcoming games from Sega. Honestly, I think Persona 3 is an easy win here. Like, hands down, release Persona 3. It just makes sense. Persona 5...
I think Catherine makes sense as well.
Catherine's already out. Yeah, for sure. Like, right, Catherine did well. I think Catherine Full Body as, like, DLC would make a lot of sense on Steam, given the base game is already
Because it's only the original, it's only the OG version of Catherine. I wonder what their experience was there that they've not updated it. But yeah, I think PS3 is the easy one.
It was, like, Catherine Classic. Like,
I mean, look, like my disdain for Atlas is well established. I could just like
the weeb on the team hates Persona. Wow,
yeah, that's heavy. What do you mean?
Shin Megami Tensei 3. They're doing a remake of Nocturne, but we're gonna make you pay for that free DLC that we. You motherfucker! Like, there's no justification outside of. Like, Atlas are greedy pricks. That is the 100% justification for anything that they do. And it makes me sad because, like, I play so many, like, they have so many great games, and I love Sega, and, like, you know, the Yakuza series is still fantastic. There's so many great things that Sega as a general company do. I don't know. I agree with you that more PC ports are coming. I still think that there's a Microsoft announcement coming. Suddenly all the Yakuza games are on Game Pass. Like, you know, once a month they're releasing
Yeah, preemptive.
3, 4, and 5, and Catherine on Game Pass. That's all I want.
I'm surprised it hasn't happened. I reckon COVID's pushed back their announcement. At E3, they were going to announce a big partnership, and they've all just kind of gone to ground a little bit. But yeah, Kiwami 2 just hit. I think they want to do... Because 3, 4, and 5 are still in the old engine, I'm pretty sure. Maybe not 5, but definitely 3 and 4 are still in the old engine. And it feels different. I can definitely tell the difference between the two. It's not huge, but it's there. So I reckon they'll use Kiwami 3 as a like launch platform for some Microsoft. I'm not as convinced about that as I am about a lot of the other rumors that I've spouted out that turned out to be true in the end.
Yeah.
But I get the feeling that that's what they'll pivot into, is they'll go, hey, we're releasing more on thing.
Well, I mean, as much as I'd like to take you on you know, trying to be like, this rumor is definitely going to happen, I lost that fight on Switch Lite, so I'll let you have that.
I told you. And you still insisted. But, and then the other one, like, you know, the ongoing joke in the New Game Plus Discord is Konami's the other one. So who's gonna buy Konami and who's going to buy Sega? It's going to be the interesting thing. I don't think they're going to buy Sega, don't get me wrong. I just think Sega and Atlas are starting to be smarter about branching that out a little bit wider. And
them buying Konami seems bizarre because, I mean, it's not gacha. What have they got? Pachinko? They've got so much money in, like, Pachinko and stuff.
They have so many. I mean, you could pay $2 billion for those IP and it would be worth it. You could literally
say that word makes me go to Japan so hard.
Oh, I want to go back so bad, man.
I'm supposed to go this year in June.
Really?
Rip and rips. Don't like, were you going for work or something?
No, it was a birthday present for my 21st. So.
That's unfortunate. The only thing I would ever advise you for, like, if your birthday's in June, just hold off a couple of months, because Japan in June is awful. It is muggy. It is.
Jason's a beach boy when it comes to humidity. That's all that matters.
No, but you're from Brisbane. You're not a real person, so don't talk to me, right? So, like, you're used to 85-90% humidity, and like Japan will do that minimum. Like, middle of the night, it'll still be like 15 degrees and 90% humidity. It's awful. So June is brutal. I know that I want to go for my birthday. Push it back to October. October's really nice. Anyway, but yeah, just hints and tips if you're ever going to the thing, and hopefully we all get to go early next year, but I reckon we're looking at mid next year. Like, mark your calendars for May.
You
I
were
reckon.
pretty keen on early next year, and I'm like, mate, it's not happening now.
I think for my birthday, I reckon April. I promise you, like you'll still enjoy it, Emily. Like, don't worry. Like, it'll still. I've never seen a person go over there and be disappointed in it, and like that's whether that's a week, whether that's normal.
So many people, like not one person has said they didn't like it. So
New Game Plus before everything started was about to launch a travel business to specifically go over that. So if you have any questions, feel free to ping me. Yeah, so.
This guy James, he's your man.
At best, it's transformative. At worst, it cured my depression. So, like, Japan's pretty good.
It's both. It's definitely both. Yeah, anyway. But yeah, no, so, like, I don't know. Fuck Atlas is, I think, the answer. That's fine.
Obviously.
Summary.
Moving on, Marvel's Avengers will add Spider-Man as a PS4 and PS5 exclusive character. Let me finish. Developer Crystal Dynamics has confirmed that Spider-Man will join Marvel's Avengers roster as a free DLC character despite not appearing in any promotional material before. The character will be released as post-launch DLC, and the studio also confirmed that the web-slinger will be exclusive to PS4 and 5 only. Crystal Dynamics has since clarified that Spider-Man will be the only console-exclusive character, so don't expect a match on Xbox. PlayStation players will also get a series of cosmetic bonuses, getting early access to some character costumes when new members of Avengers join the game. Who wants to go first?
Sony being Sony. Imran Khan, I think he was formerly IGN and stuff, reasonably well known, reasonably high repute, has said that this won't be the first thing, this won't be the last one, this is the first one, that they're dipping the toe in the water on a game that kind of no one cares about anymore. And this is Sony. This is what happens when the film gronks take over Sony. Like, the film gronks are well entrenched now. Like, House is gone, Layton's gone, Kaz is gone, buddy. Yoshida's been pushed back to indie dev. Like, none of the good people are there anymore. It's all film gronks, and they all come in with this preconceived, our IP is worth this. It's like, it's worth what people pay for it. And like, Sony have made like dozens of pictures over the last 10 years. Name good ones that aren't Spider-Man. Doesn't exist. The only good thing they've produced is Spider-Man. And they fought tooth and nail for Disney to have it. And the funny thing is, like, it's not even like, so obviously the movie rights was something that was negotiated with Disney, but the video game rights are still in that weird
gray area.
Yeah. So this is Sony being Sony. Get used to it. Like, to me, I could understand if it was like, Starlink, whatever it was called, the stupid Ubisoft one, had Star Fox on it had Star Fox on the the Switch version, right? And it's like, well, that's fine. That's an established IP from Nintendo.
Yes, it makes sense.
Like, it's fine. Spider-Man is like, it's now technically a Sony IP, and as soon as they got their grubby midside, they grabbed it and they held it, and I'm like, so again, this is Sony being Sony.
Well, I mean, as much as
for them continues to grow. They had one good generation where they weren't complete gronks. Now they're back to full gronks. So
as much as you're like, no one cares about this game, Meg, you were pretty keen for it back at PAX.
We've had this conversation. Yeah.
Okay. Yes. So thank you for handballing over to me. This game is on my must-have list for this year, and I totally fangirled out at PAX last year. We got to interview one of it was like a GM or a producer or like someone really high in the food chain. I actually have lost it right now. That's how much I fangirled out. It went through one ear and out the other. We got to interview one of the developers from the studio about the game, but it was so early on in its production that they'd been able to only show us one scene that had been rendered specifically for gameplay, which was just like a grey box cel-shaded space where all the AI came at you in like waves and lots of cinematics. But at that time, the reason why I fangirled out so hard is because they launched with Kamala Khan. She's like one of my favorite comic book characters of all time. And I think the Spider-Man, this new news does incentivize me a lot, but it doesn't incentivize me neither here nor there. I was already going to get it, and I'll be playing the beta this weekend as well. I didn't get it. I didn't play it last weekend when it was live for the first time. But to be honest, this isn't enough for me. This isn't like groundbreaking news, and it's not going to, I don't think it's going to sway sales that much. I think people they were already interested in the Marvel Avengers roster, probably already going to pick it up. But I've really heard positive things about the engagement so far, about what people think about the beta at the moment, and either you love it or you hate it, I think. So I don't think they've got...
My only thing there is, Meg, I agree. I don't think that it's necessarily going to drive more sale. Like, suddenly people who are, you're never going to buy a PS4 for Marvel Avengers. So it's not going to drive people necessarily to the platform. But I think they're doing it like, again, to me, it's just, this is the canary in the coal mine. This is them saying, if we can get away with this, we can get away with it on everything. So watch out for anything that's going to come up to be remotely Marvel related that has Spider-Man in it, and it'll be other stuff as well. Don't get
You're right. They're getting their bang for buck. They're like little Salt Bay of like, yeah, we spent this much on it, and this is all the little nuggets we're going to make it back.
Yeah,
somehow.
That's what it is. I don't think it's necessarily.
Also to touch on what you said about like incentivization, though, I was not going to buy Avengers for the DLC, so it kind of hasn't like affected my want to buy it. If that makes sense.
Were you buying it originally anyway?
Yeah, because I really liked Spider-Man because like me and my brother played through it
and
together, so it was going to be like
so
another one of that.
You're not losing out on that.
I'm a PlayStation brat, babe. Like,
like I say, like I don't think I think that's why it's a perfect target for it, because it's not going to cause enough ripples in the water that if it fails, if people get really nasty,
there's no risk.
It's not going to drive that kind of thing. No. But just watch that space, because
what
I don't think
it kind of makes me nervous, because it just sounds like they're not going to invest enough narrative or character development into any of the characters enough for there to be a risk. They're just chucked in, and that makes me really upset, because that's, to be honest, that's what players that are going to be buying it to play as Spider-Man are going to want. That craving of narrative behind that really important character that they've worked so hard to establish in the films.
Yeah, and all, I mean, even if you ignore it, because, I mean, this is the thing, none of them look like the film counterparts and all that kind of stuff. Spider-Man already has a pretty invested mythos outside of Avengers. Do you know what I mean? Like, it has it, like, Peter Parker has such a storied history in the Marvel comics to begin with. So it's that thing of, if you're not even going to try and pay any like mind or service to that, then why do it? But again, Sony likes money, so whatever, it's fine.
Yeah, I just hope that the story of the game as an overarching narrative is like really engaging. I'm really craving that. As much as there's going to be heaps of other elements to it, I'm really looking for that to get it across the line for me.
I fear for you, Meg. I worry that I really think that it's going to be the biggest issue the thing has. I don't know. I don't know. I just, from the bits I've seen and from speaking to people who I know like have played a fair bit of it through the betas and stuff like that, it seems like that's where it falls apart.
Maybe they didn't put that in the beta. I'm just going to say that now. Maybe they've actually left that out.
Hope it is, matey, because there's just nothing. It's very bare bones. It's very. I don't know. Like, I hope that, like, I would rather they've called it alpha, because that would have given you a little bit more hope. But if it's only beta, like, they're not going to add any major features in a beta. That's the point. So, I don't know. Good luck, bon chance is all I'll say to you. So,
I'll be reviewing that game in a couple of weeks' time when it's actually fully released as well.
Look forward to that. Last piece of news. This is more of a PSA than anything, to be honest, because I really love Forza Horizon 3. Forza Horizon 3 is set to be delisted in September and is currently discounted. Like for past Forza games, it's going to be made unavailable for digital purchase soon. The open world Australia set racer will be removed from sale, just as Forza Horizon 2 and Motorsport 6 before it. The game and all its DLC will be removed from sale, although they'll be available for download if you own the game already in perpetuity. While no specific reason has been given for the game being delisted, it's likely to be a licensing issue relating to the cars or music included with the game. With Forza Horizon 4, now the flagship title in the series, it seems likely the cost of renewing those licenses would be prohibitive. In the lead up to the game's delisting, a heavy discount has been applied on the Xbox store. The game's standard edition is about 13 Australian and the expansion pass is about 15. Note, don't buy the Ultimate Edition. It just has extra like DLC stuff. Just get the standard and get the expansion pass if you want the Winter Mountain and the Hot Wheels stuff. Because, it's sad because I want people to play this game. It was one of the first ones that I reviewed with New Game Plus, actually. This was years ago. This was like 2016.
That's so long ago, Jack. Jesus.
I've only been with New Game Plus since then, okay?
I'm aware. But my point to you is, you're right. Like, it's all licensing. Any of this stuff is always like, it's like when Marvel vs. Capcom 3 got taken down. It's all licensing. So I'm glad that Microsoft have seized the initiative and things. So if you do buy it, you can still download. It does still exist on their servers. They just cannot offer it for sale anymore beyond that point. I think I already have it. I think I've already got a copy of it. From like a review copy, so I might download, because that's 3 is the Australian one, isn't it?
3 is the Australian. It's on Service Paradise, going down to Byron Bay, and then Yarra Valley is somewhere in there somehow. What? How is that?
No, but like the Black Spur, mate. I mean, like if you want to,
backyard. What are they? Should have let me know they were coming by.
Isn't the 12 Apostles in there as well? Like.
Yeah, 12 Apostles in there as well. But I mean, obviously, like that's a bigger trip. But I mean, the Yarra Valley. I mean, as someone who's lived in the southeast and eastern suburbs of Melbourne, it's a well-known, like, it's a motorcycle graveyard, mate. Like, the amount of young cyclists who think they're, like, yeah, the amount of young cyclists who think they're good, and then suddenly, well, time to call the ambulance. Like, it's well known for it because where it is, it's open flats and it's like real like cold area. That's why Yarra Valley wine, that's why it's good Pinot Noir, good Chardonnay, good that kind of stuff, because the cold climate works for the grapes. Aside from that, it also means that the roads get black ice. So you get the heroes go down there, think they're good, go into a corner too hard.
The locals are just like,
see you later, son. Yeah. The coppers have a permanent highway patrol car down there now. Like, that's how bad it got. So I'm not surprised it was there, because, like, for Victorians at least, it was one of the things. And then the other nice one is the Drive Up
Fast and the Furious, like a car advertisement where they go down those windy, like, crazy U-shaped bends. So lots of that. But I personally am not going to miss Forza Horizon 3. I'm not a car racing gamer.
It's fine. I appreciate it's not for
Jack,
everyone.
are you going to be okay? My shoulder is here for you.
Well, I still own it. So, like, I'm one of the few gays that likes racing games. I always get weird side eye when people are like, why? And then I immediately launch into anyone that plays Gran Turismo is fucking boring. Like, Gran Turismo is so dry. Go and play Ridge Racer Type 4. It is a better game in every sense compared to GT Sport. But yeah, basically, go and play Forza Horizon 3 and be a hoon, because you shouldn't be a hoon out in public because it's illegal.
Yeah, don't do that.
Out of all the Forza games, though, is this a must-have? I mean, it's obviously special to you, but in terms of its place in the racing universe, is it worth picking up?
It's different. It's more content compared to Forza Horizon 4. It's a different... So, I mean... Forza Horizon 2, 3, and 4 are kind of carbon copies of each other in different maps. Okay. And the Forza Horizon 3 was just on the cusp of, like, we're getting away from shitty dude bro music festival culture. Like, 1 and 2 were terrible for that kind of stuff. Insufferable people that have way too much money.
Yeah, bro. Like, we're in the Swiss Alps. Yo,
the first
bro.
one was even worse because it was all American accent. So these people were fucking insufferable. The second one was a little bit better for that, but the third one, it was like, you're literally dealing with, like, Aussie bogans half the time. So it was a lot more fun in that sense for us, but I think globally as well. Forza Horizon 4 feels the most polished, feels the most feature-rich, but you still eventually run out of content.
In terms of, like, video game timelines and, like, the industry landscape at that time, I think Forza 4 really pushed the technological landscape with, I guess, the tech they could use to blueprint the cars and push the boundaries of the consoles out there as well. But I think Forza 3 allowed them to get to that point where Forza 4 saw what they needed to do to
keep in mind that
increase sales. Yeah,
Forza Motorsport and Forza Horizon really do appeal to very different things. And Codemasters are the only ones that do a similar thing where, like, there's dirt and dirt rally, and like it is different. Yeah, so that kind of semi arcade racing. I miss true arcade races. I miss
Blur was great.
Oh, mate, you beat me to it. Like, Blur is the best Mario Kart game that's ever been released. Like, there's no better Mario Kart game than Blur. And so I miss true arcade races. I agree with you on that extent, but to me, the thing that gets to me about Forza is, like, I was the loser. Forza Motorsport, I was the loser that played with manual clutch. So not only did I have to shift, I had to clutch it. No, on my controller. So I know it was brutal, and so I'm like, I had to teach myself to, like, after, like, L3 as I was, like, thinking. L3 is not great when you're trying to steer a corner at the same time. But so I enjoyed on that front. And Forza Motorsport 1 has a special place in my heart for Fujimi Kaido anyway. But Horizon it's a different demographic, it's a different thing. But 3 is better than 4. It just kind of, for me, it's not even a comparison.
I wouldn't say that one is necessarily better than the other. I think that they both are basically the same game with different maps and different characters. And 4 feels a little bit more polished because it was released later. They both have phenomenal soundtracks. They both visually look fantastic. 4's PC port is better than 3's for obvious reasons. But
because
they're both fantastic games. If you want to go and pick up 3, please, Lord, go and pick up 3.
Now is the time.
Hopefully there'll be more arcade races. You're hanging out with us here on New Game Plus TV. We'll be back in a little bit talking more video games. You're back with us here on New Game Plus TV. My name is Jack, and I'm here with Meg, Em, and Jason, and we're going to be talking Ghost of Tsushima, which is Sony's latest open-world action RPG. They've made a number of these. I mean, I don't know if God of War was necessarily an open world. I mean, it wasn't open world. It was certainly an action RPG sort of game. But Spider-Man also was basically that, an action game. I don't know if it's so much RPG. The point is, it's a brand new game. It's an open world game, and Em's been playing a bunch of it. I played a little bit of it. And my takeaway was, I'm terrible at stealth. And so even though they baby you into stealth pretty early, I will suffer through that stuff through the rest of the game. And that honor is exhausting and Jin can shut up. But Em, what I'll get you to do to begin with is brief us on what is Ghost of Tsushima. What is the background? What is the storyline, the plot of the game?
So basically what happens at the start is you're in the middle of a battle with like your samurai crew and your uncle, and then the Khotan Khan's like Mongols are coming after you, and then that kind of is like what starts off the whole like game. And it's like you kind of I feel like when I'm in the middle of games, I forget what happens at the beginning, and then I'm just like, oh, I'm in here. Like,
here I am.
But yeah, here I am. But it's kind of about like following the samurai code and like the people that you meet along the way, and like watching the tales unfold, and kind of like you're trying to recruit all these people to come and fight with you and your uncle, because your uncle's been like taken by Khotan Khan, and that was like the most terrible explanation of what Ghost of Tsushima is.
Well, I mean, your uncle, he's taken at the beginning of the game. Sort of how long does it take for you to essentially rescue him? Because you're playing as Jin, who is a samurai and has been trained as a samurai, and this like forager thief chick, I forget her name, but I'm in love with her because she is
Yuna.
She is the only one with personality here. Jin is a cardboard cutout. But Yuna's like, yeah, we're going to steal shit, and we're going to go we're going to go and be really, really sneaky. And he's like, yeah, but I have to face someone when I fight them. I'm like, dude, shut up. Like, I have no time
that's
for this.
That's kind of where like all the moral sort of ambiguities and stuff come in, because you're like, oh, I understand like why she thinks that way, but then he's also grown up like thinking these things. So I kind of feel like I wish they had have leaned into that more, because I really liked in the beginning when like I think I did my first like stealth kill on one of the Mongols, and it cut to this flashback of my uncle being like, no, you can't do that, like this is what, you know, the samurai code is, and this is what you've grown up knowing. And then like later on in the game it was like bonus objective, kill 3 Mongols without being seen. And I was kind of like, I had kind of like changed my play style after that flashback, like because I thought it would kind of alter the course of the story.
You get,
but
like,
then
brownie points for facing them with honor.
Yeah. And then kind of once I realized that it really had no effect, I kind of went back to just stealth killing and stuff.
This to me is one of the things that I worried about with it, is because if there was ever a game that would make sense to have that Mass Effect-y Paragon kind of thing, you could have, you know, Bushido versus like, you know, Kunoichi kind of like, you know, ninja kind of thing. Like you could make that dichotomy and say like, you know, you're moving away from the samurai code. And I think all those games inflict their moral code on you. So but the problem is nowadays you can't possibly have that level of, I don't know, you can't have that level of expression when you're making these kind of games, because people want to play it their way. So God forbid you upset anyone by making them play the way you intend people to play it. And I feel that it seems to be a little bit of a victim of that. We're not quite willing to commit to the bit. And that's what it sounds like, at least from what you're saying, that seems to be what it suffers from a bit.
I think it's also like I can kind of understand why Sucker Punch might have wanted to stray away from that, because of going from the Infamous franchise, which was so heavily like, are you good or are you bad? So I do like the fact that there is kind of that grey area, but at the same time, I'm like, I wish they had kind of committed to a bit, like a bit further. I think that's what it sounds like, at least from what you've said and what I've heard other people say, is that it just feels like, if you're going to make these points, you've got to commit to, especially like, you know, like I said in the intro, if you're going to commit to the idea of like daring to compare yourself to Kurosawa, like you've got to be willing to play in the grey, and you got to play heavy in the grey. And it just seems like they give that little bit of lip service, but it just doesn't quite, they don't quite push into it as hard as they probably needed to sell the point they're trying to make.
But Jason, games need to be black and white again. Stories need to go back to being black and white.
Quite literally black and white, by the way.
That's a stupid article. Don't read it.
Can I ask, there's a lot of other big AAA game reviewers that give this game a 9 out of 10, a 40 out of 40, 9.5 out of 10. Why do you think that it's going so well in terms of ratings and reviews when there's a couple of like different elements of why you're not really that big of a fan of it?
I think it's because it's so different from a lot of things that have come out like lately, and I think that might kind of be a big reason that it's gotten a lot of big ratings.
Okay.
But there are kind of a lot of elements to it as well that I wouldn't personally give it like a 9 out of 10.
Sure.
Because there are like moments where it feels a bit samey. I think I like heard that on one of the Eurogamer reviews where it kind of
repetitive?
Repetitive. Like, but I think because the combat is like really diverse that it kind of it does kind of help out with that repetitiveness and makes it feel like still fun.
So I guess going to the gameplay a bit in detail there, like the combat you've already sort of highlighted is one of the highlights of the game so far, but obviously combat, like situations will come to a head in combat, but you've still got a lot of exploring going around. I guess to begin with, like this is a mission structure that you're sort of going through in this open world. You get given core missions, story missions, and then sort of like side quests and all the rest of it. How do you sort of go about achieving a lot of those tasks? And is it specifically the side quests or the adventuring, the exploring that's repetitive?
I think it's kind of the format of the missions because it is very like go talk to this NPC, follow them, investigate this area, kill some Mongols, and then, go to the next point. And so that kind of does start to feel a little bit tiring, like the 10th time you've done it. I think as well with the way the world was laid out in the beginning, I was a little intimidated because there was like so much to do. Because it was like there was the main story and then there was, I think, 5 different tales that were surrounding it. And I kind of didn't know how to navigate it at first, like where to start. But then I think because I'm in the second act now, so like once I kind of figured out how to go about it, it was easier to navigate through it. So that's kind of like how I did it.
I guess that's my thing. So I've had this conversation recently on the other podcast that I do. I've always been more of a fan of Ubisoft open worlds than I have of Sony open worlds, and that should, like, at least to me, that invokes what the differences are. Like, there's a way that Sony does it with stuff like Horizon Zero Dawn and Ghost of Tsushima and stuff that is different to the way Ubisoft does it now. Like you mentioned, that the combat sets this apart, and I think that is probably the one thing that Sony open worlds tend to be better for is the combat. For the simple reason that they tend to focus on it, whereas Assassin's Creed combat has always been garbage. Like, you know what I mean? But games like Far Cry, it's more sandboxy. They go a little bit the other way with it, where it's like, here are the tools, here's how to accomplish it, here's how to do that.
Nice.
Like, do you think that, like, Sucker Punch comes from the world of Infamous, and like you mentioned previously, they had the heavy moral system, they had their way of making it. Do they break enough with convention in this game, or is it still that kind of, like, it's all very nice on that kind of facile, superficial level, but it's still doing hitting those same beats over and over again?
I think that they do separate it a lot. Like, it doesn't feel like you are picking like a good side or a bad side, and I tend to like that in games because it kind of gives me a bit more choice as a player. But I have heard that there are like 2 different endings. Like, there is a choice you have to make at the end, which I think is like the good or the bad one. Right. Like, which it's quite clear, but I'm not sure.
Because Assassin's Creed, Gears 5 did that in a real awkward, obvious way. Like, there's no moral choice in Gears 5. It is just fight these tactic-based things against these people, and then at the very end, decide who lives or dies. And it's like, why? Why did you include this? Like, to me, that speaks a little bit to them not committing to the bit, because it's like, I'm happy for you to tell me a story. I'm happy to participate in the story you're trying to tell me. Yeah. But then to suddenly shoehorn that in at the end, it seems counterproductive.
Well, it's kind of like Life is Strange, how there was like that one arbitrary choice at the end, and it kind of was like, why did I do all of this?
Mad PTSD right now. Yeah, for sure.
Oh, don't even get me started. That's a whole other episode.
Hopefully Tell Me More is not like
do
that. Because
let's do that.
We'll be playing Tell Me More, and I'm looking forward to seeing how that goes.
I can't wait. Yeah. I'm so frothy for that. I didn't see that trailer coming in that Xbox showcase, so
Super excited. I guess addressing the combat a little bit, I've only played the first sort of few opening hours of Ghost of Tsushima. Speak a little bit to the combat, like where does it get intricate? Why is it interesting? And some of the, I guess, supplementary systems that might support that, like different level ups, buffs, all the rest, that kind of stuff.
There was something that I kind of noted in terms of like accessibility with the skill tree, where your ability to see enemies you can improve, like an upgrade with one of the skill trees, kind of like in Last of Us with the listen mode, how you can upgrade it, which I really liked because I had trouble like seeing a lot of the points, like especially in camps and stuff and like the temples. I didn't like know where the trappers and the boas and stuff were. So I liked that aspect of it with the upgrading. The combat it got interesting when the stances were like introduced, right? Because I think you have like 4 main stances and then you kind of can upgrade each stance. And so there's that, and then there's also like your weapons, like the bows, and then the bombs and the throwables and stuff. And so every like combat encounter, even though it is that repetitive thing, like we mentioned before, there is still like a diverse way to approach it, because there are like so many different weapons at your disposal and so many different like ways to go about it. The only thing that I haven't gotten good at is the parrying. Like I cannot parry to save my life, and I know that is like such a huge part of the game, but I cannot figure it out because it's like timing, and it's like Assassin's Creed. Like I cannot with like mathematical combat. Like it's just
I feel like if you're good at Dark Souls and Demon Souls, I think that parry would just be like a natural inflection.
Yeah.
But
like Sekiro's the obvious comparison there. And I think that to me, like again, I still, even based on what you guys have said, like, and not that you've been particularly negative on it, I think you've been completely fair to it, but I still want to give it a try because I think even on that aesthetic level, I still think it would be worth 20 hours of my time. But I don't know. It's interesting that at least the combat sounds like it doesn't fall into that Sony trap of being, the Assassin's Creed trap of being, like you say, the best move in Assassin's Creed is counter. You just literally go, cool, I'm just going to pick up the axe or someone's hammer off the ground, hit me. Just try and hit me. Bang, you disarm, damn, you're dead. Like that's the combat. That's the combat for Assassin's Creed. And it really hasn't changed. Assassin's Creed isn't a stealth game and it's not a combat game. Like neither of those things have been its strengths for the longest time. But at least it sounds like in this game that those elements are strong enough to be interesting of themselves in and of themselves.
Well, I mean, is there? I guess on that,
so, yeah.
Do you think that result or absolves? What's the word? Do you think that makes up for the fact that the exploration, the story, well, not the story so much, but the aspects of the game that you clearly are kind of lukewarm on? To wrap up, do you think that Ghost of Tsushima does a good job of sort of balancing the good and the lukewarm to make it a positive experience in your measure?
I would say so far, yeah, because I think the combat also feels satisfying, which I think is something that always kind of tends to draw me back when there are those lukewarm elements. So I've quite enjoyed it. I mean, I can see why it's gotten the reviews that it has.
But it's not necessarily for everyone.
I mean, everyone's different. So it's like, I mean, everyone's different, you guys.
Okay, not the same. Ghost of Tsushima is available now on PS4. You're hanging out with us on New Game Plus. Stick around for more video game goodness. You're back with us here on New Game Plus TV. I'm Jack. I'm here with Meg, Em, and Jason. And I recently signed up to Xbox Game Pass Ultimate is what it's called. So Xbox Live Gold is the online service that you can pay to play games online with your Xbox. PC's had it free for now because PC is... For now, yep, cool. We just spoke about news. And Game Pass was originally just an Xbox. You can go for Game Pass, I think, on PC or Xbox, but Game Pass Ultimate gets you both.
Does both, yeah.
So
yeah, that's how it works. I think it's $5 a month on PC at the moment because obviously you got to go low on PC because there's just so many other kind of options, i.e. piracy. Xbox, I think it's like $10 a month or whatever, and then combining them brings it down a couple of bucks. It's like $12-13 a month or something. I can't remember. I did the same trick as you, Jack. I bought as much gold as I could find. So it was $150-160 worth. Paid my $1. I don't have to pay for it again until like April 2022. I want to say.
Yeah.
So like I've got heaps of time on mine.
Well,
so
I mean,
I'm in the same boat as you, and I've been a shill since I first got it. It's such a great.
You've been a shill a fair bit longer than that. Like you've been like, yeah, Microsoft's
absolutely.
Yeah, it's a no-brainer for value for sure.
Yeah. The Xbox Live Gold 12-month thing was gone, so I was like, cool, going to buy 2 codes. Did it through an online retailer. Terms of service definitely says I shouldn't be able to do that, but I did, and it was great. And then I redeemed the codes, and because when you redeem a code, it's like, do you want to like make it a subscription? We'll give you an extra month for free. And I'm like, yeah, sure, man. So it was an extra 2 months on top of the 24. So I've got 26 months of Game Pass Ultimate. And there are a fuckload of games. Jason, I think you said there are like 400 games or something?
383, I think, is the count at the moment. Now that is including both ones that are on both platforms, but also ones that are just on PC or Xbox. And there's only a few that are like that. So, what is it? The Japanese horror one, like the Junji Ito game, World of Horror is only on PC Game Pass. So if you want to play it on PC Game Pass, you can just play it as part of that, but you can't get it on Xbox because it hasn't been programmed for Xbox. But I don't know, like, you know, and to me, like, I try not to shill for no reason. Any product that I've ever given a good, you know, like, you should check this out or whatever, you know, anyone that we've worked with, even on like, you know, C31 for giveaways and stuff, it's all products I believe, like, I don't know if products I believe in. There's no ethical consumption under capitalism. So it's not me being like proper shill. It's just that case of, for the value for money that you're getting versus, you know, what you're paying for it, and the downsides and upsides of it, it's good value. Like, it's fantastic. And you know, to me, that's what Game Pass is like. And I see that's what Phil and that are tooling the Microsoft offering towards. And I get it, because you know, it really is, you know, Humble do their subscription one, and PS Plus, you know, when PS Plus first came out at the end of the PS3 cycle, it was masterstroke. At that point, you were only ever paying, because PS3 you didn't pay for online, but to convert people from to PS4, and also those who were still on PS3, to get them to pay for it, you gave them these free games. So, you know,
it was like, it was literally moving players towards the digital space. And
correct.
Like forgetting discs and experiencing things just by having like free access to games, but they can dip their toe in and see if they like it. And then, I guess it definitely expanded people's minds.
And so the kind of the two, you know, the two main points of that was, number one, it was to, although you had all those back catalog games from PS3 era, all these fantastic games that didn't, you know, weren't going to make it across to PS4 because you can't emulate PS3. So, you know, that was the one thing. And the second one was that they needed something to incentivize people to, buy their online service, because previously you didn't have to pay. So they had to incentivize it somehow. Microsoft consumers were already on board with it. They'd already made their peace with it.
Exactly.
And I think that was a little bit why Matrix thought he could get away with Always Online as well, to be honest. I think they thought, well, they're okay with this, so sure they'll be okay with the next step.
Yeah.
And like, that goes into that whole other conversation. But I think it caught Microsoft off guard. That Games of Gold was a thing that came in like a couple months later. So that was a huge disruption in that space. I think Game Pass is probably the next big disruption in that space. Like, Humble Bundle do theirs, and then they all do these versions of subscription services, but it's not quite the same. Like, it's, you know, as long as you have the sub, you own the game, and that's not really what Game Pass is. Game Pass is way more a Netflix, as opposed to that kind of system. And I think it works for that reason, because, like, cool, you never own them. You know you never own them, but you've got access to such a big back catalogue, and they come and go too. So, like, you know, things might only get 6 months on there. So, like, you'll get it usually, you know, you'll read about, such and such is leaving.
It was like GTA 5 was on it for the longest time, and then they swapped it for RDR2. And it's like shit like that, where it's like, it's not necessarily a bad thing, but...
Yeah, no, it's all strategy for sure.
Yeah, because Sony have a deal with GTA 5 for GTA Online. I'm pretty sure on PS5 if you play it. Is it PS5 or Xbox? I can't remember one of them. But if you play it on the next gen, you can carry it over, and there's a whole bunch of stuff. And there's a rumor doing the rounds that GTA 6 is going to be time gated on PS5 and stuff. And so I'm not surprised that was a thing. But yeah, like, you know, Red Dead Redemption 2, fantastic game. There's so many great games on there that it is tough. Like, you know, like sometimes you don't just want to. It's hard to just dip your toe into like these 20, 30 hour long journeys.
Then
But
tell
there's so
me,
many.
which ones are you going to be telling me to play on Game Pass?
So you've just got Game Pass. So I'm just going to scroll through it from newest backwards, right? I'm just literally going to open up the page. I'm just going to scroll through it from newest backwards. So Carrion is one. Carrion is great. It's a Devolver game. That's all I really need to add. It plays well
and gross. The music is ambient and spooky.
Yeah, and you play an actual evil entity, because a lot of games that tell you, oh, you can play as the bad guy. It's always that Peter Molyneux-esque superficial kind of, oh, aren't you a bad sort? And like this is like, nah, you're just like hell flesh incarnate. You're just gonna fucking murder things, and that's that's what your life exists as. Like,
you stay alive by killing humans and keep on moving
and eat them. Yeah, just straight up eat them, and then like so over time you evolve and stuff. It's really like, I thought it was great. I played it on Steam. I got a Steam code before it came out on Game. I didn't realize it was on Game Pass, so I'd already played it before it came on Game Pass.
I'm watching some trailers of it. It's like got a lot of CCTV footage. Is that part of the game, or is that just like the cinematic trailer?
No, this is a cinematic trailer.
Okay, I was going to say that's
they're well done cinematic trailers, are they?
It's like, really pixel art, and I think that really brings it to life and it sells it to me because it's aesthetically really enticing, as well as the gameplay is so different too. It doesn't look like any other platform, like side-scrolling platformer.
Yeah, and so that to me is definitely one. Grounded is Obsidian's open world, Minecraft-y kind of survival game, but it's got that utterly charming Obsidian edge to it. So it's like, it's you've definitely played stuff like it before. It's not going to necessarily like rock your boat, but the way that you fight ants and you fight stink bugs and you fight spiders and you just over time you like it's these real world scary like bugs, and it's Honey I Shrunk the Kids, the game.
Yes,
so
I was thinking like the ant bully.
That works too. Yeah, that works too.
I'm reading into it, and Jason, this is completely a go at you because you deserve it. You're like, oh, so this is basically just EDF Minecraft. Like,
yes, yes-ish. But except for the fact that EDF is releasing World Brothers World. Can't remember what it's called, and that is literally EDF Minecraft. So, no, I can't say that it's EDF Minecraft. But
I have to tell you, if no one's heard of them getting grounded, I need you to go onto YouTube and find the trailer they launched at the Microsoft conference this year, where it was just like, if you're looking for the biggest game of 2020. Go and play Cyberpunk. This is not the game for you. But if you want to play this game, like Grounded is there. Oh my gosh, it was just
peak
the tone of voice. Like it's making fun of itself and it's full of fun.
Yeah. So obviously, and Obsidian are now owned by Microsoft. So the Outer Worlds is free on that as well, and all the DLC will be free on Game Pass. It'll release on the other platforms, but it's free on there. If you haven't played Yakuza, 0, Kiwami 1, Kiwami 2, all on there.
Where do I start?
All very good games. Yakuza 0, it's fine. You can go chronological on that one.
Wow, mate,
so you can
just
start it.
Tell us how you really feel.
Yeah, because I've met James. I don't get why she's yawning. Like Yakuza 0, it's campy, it's over the top. It's Japanese Yakuza drama in video game form with like a fighting engine. And like I prefer, like Judgment to me is probably the best game from the same developers, and that's where you play like a private detective walking around Kabukicho. But you've been to Kabukicho, like that it's you know what it's like. It is Kabukicho. You will walk through there and you'll go, oh, that's where the Lawson is.
But I can't be
that's
blasted out of my
really
mind
special.
there, Jason. If I can't be completely munted, preferably with a boy on our way to an APA,
welcome to New Game Plus
I have
trips to
lost
Japan.
interest. Like,
wow. And what he'll do is he'll do a review of it, but speaking an American accent for 3 hours.
I'm so ashamed of that. Oh my god! There was a quick sidebar. We had a very good night at TGS one night, and what's the name of the bar that we went to? It was a
Torikizoku.
Yeah, it was a Torikizoku, and we got. Oh, you literally got blackout. You were like, how the fuck did I get up my goddamn
because none of you
loft bed?
finish your drinks. I was paying for them and none of you did finish them.
All right. I still got very drunk. I got so drunk and I got back to my home station and I was like, I'm not going to bed. I'm going to be fucking dead tomorrow. I still was. Yeah. But I stayed up for 3 hours at my home station vaping and speaking in an American accent. I don't know why, but I did.
Do you know what that is? That is staying on brand.
That is character development. Fuck, I hate myself. The worst part of that story is that I failed to tack vom at a Coco the next morning. That sucked. But yeah, Yakuza is... it's not. It is turn based. No, it's not turn based. It's an action.
No, it's not turn based. No. It's walk around.
Third person.
People say it's like Japanese GTA. I don't think that's really true. It's more like you're in Kabu. The ends are blocked off, so you can't go any further. Like it'll tell you to turn around, kind of thing. But it's kabukicho. Like I always call it kabukicho, and that's because that was a pronunciation error someone said to me once when I first started going there in the Travel area. So. Kabukicho. Right. So it's kabukicho.
Isn't it called Yurakucho in the game?
No, Kamurocho.
Kamurocho. That's right.
But yeah, so if you want to play the Kingdom Hearts games, I'm pretty sure all the Kingdom Hearts games are on there now.
I don't,
except for the 3DS one. Not 3DS one, the GBA one. Dragon Quest, lots of Square Enix stuff is on Game Pass.
Also lots of Microsoft exclusives as well. I think that a whole Halo catalog all
exclusives are Master Chief Collection, Gears. All the Gears games are on there. One of the ones I was actually going to mention is State of Decay. I really like State of Decay. I'm not big on zombie games in general, but
the trailer was exciting for the new release coming out.
I
thought it was a new Metro game. I thought maybe it was looked good.
It was on my bingo card, so I'm glad I got the point for that one. So we did the thing for Moving Out, Jack. But Overcooked 2 and Moving Out are all on Game Pass. So, if that's your thing. Metro, all the Metros are on there as well.
I'm a fake gamer. I don't know what that means.
I love that they have like such a diverse kind of catalog.
Yeah, the breadth, right? Jesus Christ.
Yeah, no, and it really is wide. Like, We Happy Few's another good one that's on there. There's so many, and like lots of good indie games too. Like Annapurna, like Outer Wilds is on there as well, which was everyone in our team loved it. I didn't enjoy it, but I get why people like it. Edith Finch was amazing. Like for a walking simulator, it was just such a good game.
Meg, you haven't had a whole lot. Like, what else do you have in Game Pass that you think that I should really need to check out?
I think you've got it at the perfect time. I think we're obviously reminiscing about what is already on there, but what you need to be thinking forward to is that pile of shame can continue to sit there. You need to think forward and think, what am I going to look forward to? What have I invested into this? Well,
I'm not going to in 6 months' time,
Yeah, I'm glad you asked, actually. So the edition's coming out this month. In fact, less than 2 weeks from now is one of our favorite publishers out there called Don't Nod is releasing a brand new narrative story game, episodic, called Tell Me Why. The chapter 1 is releasing 27th of August, and I am frothing for that. We were just talking about it before in Emily's Ghost of Tsushima review, but I really can't wait for that new story. It's the first time we're seeing a transgender character in a AAA game, besides Last of Us 2, obviously. But I think it's really the time to bring in all those really diverse and inclusive characters, especially when people are so open to embracing that now. But also,
plus Don't Nod are going to treat it with the right level of care.
They're not going to bury the gays.
Not going to bury the gays.
Yes, it's going to be done in a really tasteful way and an important, impactful way. And I think if there's anyone out there that can deliver that, it's them. And I'm really looking forward to that. So watch this space for a good review, I'm sure.
Are you actually excited for Battletoads? Like, this is a little bit of a tangent. Are you actually, do you think that it's not going to be crap? Because I look at it and it reminds me of like, I remember the old Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles games. They were sick. And then you look at the way the new Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles look, they look like they're melted in a microwave kind of thing. Or they're
I completely understand what you mean. Yeah. My fear is that
this looks awful.
My patience for the games as a kid, I think I would have controller slot with my brother at the time when we played the first one. Playing 2-player, like he'd carry me through the hard areas and et cetera, et cetera. But now my patience for losing is extremely thin. So I think it depends on like the difficulty levels of failure, like the new crash and stuff like that made me feel really bad. I think there was a lot of times where I guess
still of you just completely astral projected, like, no.
I'm a shit gamer. Oh my God. I guess
if you're keen for this, the Streets of Rage 4 game was fantastic, and that's on Game Pass as well. Like, that was so good. And it's cross-play, and it's online, all that. The only problem with Battletoads, it's only local co-op. There's no online co-op, to my understanding.
Honestly, it doesn't really faze me. I've got James over there, chilling over there.
That's right, I'm not hearing click in the background as he tries to gift someone, so yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. It's my exact gift right now, sorry.
Another one, like, maybe I don't know if you have the nostalgia for this, but Alan Wake's on there. On PC.
I don't. Has it aged to a point where I can go back and enjoy it?
I love Alan Wake, and the biggest problem with Alan Wake was always the controls. And if you're playing it on PC, I'm pretty sure you can obviously set up keyboard and mouse, but I'm pretty sure you can play around with it on that. But yeah, no, like like it's just so hard to go through it because we've covered a lot of the big ones, but we haven't even gone into the great indie games. Like we mentioned Annapurna stuff.
Yeah,
Dead Cells is fantastic. Dead Cells is just such a good game. It's a roguelike. It's one of the very few roguelikes that doesn't make me just roll my eyes. It just does everything it has to. Downwell is like super fun on PC.
I love Downwell on. I've played it on mobile, I think, a bunch, but I haven't played it on console.
I've got it because it was built for iPhone, so it works so perfect because it's literally left and right and jump, and that's your only two buttons, and so it works because both sides of the screen can register that input. So that's why. Bad North is on there. Children of Mortar. Now, Children of Mortar. If I'd have played, is it Children of Mortar, Child of Mortar? Can't remember. If I'd have played that last year, it would have factored into my top 3 games of the year. It's magnificent. It is just such a good game, and the way that it tells its story and the way that it builds its universe and the way that it opens it up slowly. It's like, you're the mystical people who control this realm, and I should know the name because I didn't play it. Bergsons? Pretty sure it's Berg. Doesn't matter. What moral story is, you play as them, and you learn the mythos, and you learn how the uncle lost his arm, the uncle lost his leg, and how that came to pass, and all these different things, and how they introduce all the playable characters and stuff. It's just so unique. There's just no other game that I've played recently that really did such a good job of telling me, who these people were, what they were doing, and especially to do it in like a roguelike indie game format. That's crazy. Like I'm amazed at how good a game that was and how good a job it did of doing that. And I think we've covered so many games there that it could literally you can play for hours and not even
fucking ages. Yeah, Jesus.
The pile of shame is going to grow.
Sniper Elite 4's on there. I love Sniper Elite. I've always been a big fan of their game, like what are they? Rebellion's games. I've always been a fan of Remedy's games too. Remnant from the Ashes, loot shooter extraordinaire, fantastic game. Pathologic 2, if you really want to go down, let's go into that experimental kind of Xenoclash shit. There's Nier Automata's on there if you want to be a fake weeb.
I've still got Josh's copy though, so I probably should play that.
The only other main thing I would say is that a lot of the times what they'll do, so for example, Tekken 7 is on there, right? So Tekken 7, the vanilla game's on there. Then you pay for the DLC. And so a lot of the time when a lot of these older back catalogue games, it is just to give you that taste, to give you that snippet. But realistically, that's fine. I don't know, a lot of the time, another one of my favorites is Mutineer Zero. And Mutineer Zero prompted me to buy the DLC. The DLC wasn't many missions on top of, but I just so enjoyed the world and so enjoyed playing that game that I was like, yeah, all right, I'll play the extra bit. Stuff like Hellblade, Senua Sacrifice. To go through the list of all the games on here that are just so good, it would take way too long. I could genuinely sit here all day and talk about how I played them. Sea Salt is another great
I will have to stop him. I've got to stop him because we've gone on for so long.
I guess I want to just end this by asking what the general life cycle of a game on Xbox Game Pass is. I mean, you said there's a couple of AAAs that have a 3-month stint or 3 weeks or whatever it is.
It's usually
are they there for life if they're older?
6 months minimum. To me, from what I can see, it's usually 6 months minimum. Game Pass has been out for about 18 months, I want to say, thereabouts. And then GTA left it about 3 months ago. So I think a lot of the time it's the deal they establish at the start, but it's also the strategy that they're going for. Around that particular title.
And xCloud will play into it as well, obviously. xCloud is a relevant thing for us locally, but I mean, hopefully it will be eventually. I think as you said, Jason, Azure's servers are probably going to be the most trustworthy to host something like that in Australia. So hopefully with the continued rollout of NBN, it will be more likely, but it's not launching right now.
Yeah, look, like I say, consider it a hard shill if you want, but I don't shill for things I don't enjoy. So anything that I've said here, I'll stand by.
Shilling real fucking hard.
They're all Sony Defense Force. They ignore them. I genuinely think that it's the best value on the market at the moment. I don't know another subscription service that just delivers as good a value as Game Pass does. And that's not to say go rush out and buy it, but I mean, if you want to get that 2-year deal, which costs you $150, there's 2 years of games, every Microsoft exclusive. Let's say you paid the full price for it. It's $120 a year or whatever it is, maybe a bit more, right? That's 2 Microsoft exclusives a year. There's going to be 2 Microsoft games you want to play. There's going to be 2. If you pay for that, then you get everything, plus all this back catalog, plus all these exclusive deals that they're getting. It just... it just makes sense.
Ori for me,
yeah.
or Ori and the Will
Yeah.
of the Wisps was the big one for me to not the only one, obviously, because I was like, this is fucking huge, and Xbox Live is going away. But like, Ori is there, and I'm like, well, fuck it. It's like $40, and Xbox Live Gold's going away. I'll just bite the bullet now because I know that when they're pulling gold, that deal's going to go soon. Like as soon as Series X launches, that $1 deal conversion is probably going to go.
Of course, because there's no need for it anymore. I wonder if they'll end up just converting people at the end or whatever, or they'll offer some kind of initiative. I remember when they
you've got all the Xbox Live Gold there already, and
that is true. And that's how they're bleeding it out. But I mean, Halo 2 servers. Remember when Halo 2 servers closed down? They there was like a people who had a lobby open, and Microsoft couldn't kick them. So they had like an 8-person lobby open. They bribed them all. They basically said, "We'll give you an Xbox with all this stuff. Just get the fuck out of the game. We want to close the servers." And they had to bribe them. Which I mean, it's a good will story at the same time.
Yeah.
So yeah, no.
That's
I didn't notice it was Rags speaking. Rags is converted to SDF. He was SDF and now he's pure Xbot. It's great. We've succeeded in one.
Bloody hell! That is Xbox Game Pass Ultimate. There are fuckloads of games, and as it turns out, I won't have any trouble finding games. I will have a lot of trouble maintaining my pile of shame, but I'll just have to deal with that.
Challenge accepted.
Stick with us. We're going to be talking Fall Guys in just a little bit here on New Game Plus TV Live. Welcome back to New Game Plus TV. We are recording from home because Melbourne's in stage 4 lockdown. We don't have a studio, and we're going to make goddamn TV, whether you like it or not. My name's Jack. I'm here with Meg, Em, and Jason. Whether you're watching on C31 or C44, or maybe on Twitch. We're going to be talking a little bit about Fall Guys. Now, Fall Guys, Jason, is basically Takeshi's Castle, but cute.
Yes. Takeshi's Castle. What's that? What was that other one? That was an Australian one. Wipeout. It's a knockout if you're old. If for the old people in the crowd.
Wipeout, I feel like Mario Party or something like that as well.
Yeah. Wipeout, I hear, and I'm like, Wipeout Anti-Grav Racer? Let's go. Like, I love that.
Yeah. No. It's a very different thing. But it is basically, yeah. So the core premise is 60 people start at the start of it, and the first one will funnel that down to 19 people will be eliminated. And usually the first one, say an obstacle course, you got to get to the end, and once you pass the line, you qualify. Very much like Takeshi's Castle. Next one might be like either another obstacle course, or it might be some kind of like team-based game where you've got to the one showing at the moment is Don't Fall Off, like the where you basically get pushed off, and then once it eliminates a certain number of people, you stay on, or the one where the platforms drop away. Then they'll break into like a team-based game where it's like blue team versus red team versus yellow team, whatever.
I hate the team-based games.
People like the team game.
No.
Because it makes me feel connected.
No, I don't want connection. Get away from me. No, I will say the push the ball game into the goal is probably the best one because it is pretty forgiving as long as you have one person that knows what the fuck they're doing. You have everyone else push the ball and you have one person go to grief. That's the strategy. As
a bullshit tryhard, the team games are awful because like the soccer one is fine because growing up and in my younger years I played a lot of team sports. So I understand the basics of attacking and defending.
So
the soccer one, the soccer one is fine. It was why I picked up Rocket League so well because I'm like, cool, it's just 3 persons like futsal. Like it is what it is. It's just I'm driving a car instead.
Plus that plays sport, I swear to God, or has played sport.
Cardi played tennis for years. Anyway, it doesn't matter. Moral story is like, and so that's how it whittles down. And then the very end, the last race will either be an obstacle course or some kind of like competitive game. One winner, the winner wins a crown. The crown is a currency. So the way they do even currency is smart. You can pick up crowns through the season pass, through grinding and stuff like that, and it's only for cosmetics anyway. But I think I'm up to level 10 in my season pass, and I've got 1 crown. Sorry, I've got 2 crowns. I won once, and I've got 1 that I got from the season.
What does it feel like to have one? Because I wouldn't.
Emily,
know.
that is a great question.
My biggest problem is the only part that gets me every time is. Goddamn the last map is the last. Have you been to the last one? Like not to be that guy, but have you been to the last obstacle course running up the hill? Yeah, run up the hill.
I don't think so.
No.
Yeah, so there's one bit at the end where there's like hammers, like the spinny hammers, and like I'm sure there's a pattern to it. My brain can't work it out, so I always get caught there. I'll be ahead of everyone, and I'll get caught at the spinny hammers.
And it'll just
I
knock
just
you
can't
way
figure
back.
it out. You'll knock me way back,
Is
and so then I
that
lose.
the one with like the slime, and then there's like birds?
No, that's slimed out.
Snaky obstacle course where you're going up in altitude, but like this one is literally just ramp up, and you've got obstacles on the way there. That's
Right.
Yeah, and the slime one's actually probably one of the better ones. There's like three good shortcuts in that, and if you make sure you're up there, and then all you do is just pick on
you fall down and you fall.
If you fall, you got a
slime,
chance to just straight up. Yeah. As soon as you touch the slime in any capacity, you're gone.
Yeah.
So like, so from that point of view, it is about winning. It's about that, and it's charming. The aesthetic's great. The music is legally distinct from Splatoon.
I'm going to just stop you right there at the aesthetic point. Talk to me about these costumes that the characters are wearing, and how do I get a KFC one?
So
I know that's not really real. I'm so trolling, but I love all their variations that you can pick. Do you have to pay money?
So you can pay. There's a DLC pack which is the fast food pack, and that's basically like hot dog and fries and stuff. And it's like $15 plus you get like 10,000 kudos, which would be enough for like multiple colors and a couple of maybe like another costume on top of.
It has the crowns which you can get by winning or by leveling up, and then it has the kudos, which I was just like it's purple coins. But yeah, that one's a lot. They have far less value, whereas one crown is like, oh damn, okay, that's some money. And you can buy those, but again, it's all cosmetic. It's like Rocket League. There's no competitive advantage to literally anything that you buy in the store.
I really like the fact that everything's like agnostic and neutral. It's just like whatever you choose to represent yourself.
Plus the other thing, and this is something that, especially in the early days, that Plants vs. Zombies Garden Warfare was good for, is that there's no ongoing, like you can't just keep buying currency. You can now, unfortunately, in PvZ Garden Warfare, but it's still pretty fair. So I will say that about Garden Warfare 3. I love Garden Warfare to begin with.
You're the only person that's played Garden Warfare on the planet. Like, oh, sorry, you and Dermy.
Me, Dermy, and his kid, and and I love it. I think it's great, and I wish it kind of got the bigger profile than it think, because it's just such a great game for kids, and it's competitive, and there's so much to it. But this has a similar thing where you don't feel ripped off. Like, even if you're a scrub and you keep dropping out in the first or second map, if you play it 100 times, you'd probably have enough for an outfit. Do you know what I mean? And like, that sounds like a lot, but you might get lucky and pass a couple of matches. And if you win a couple of matches, like if you're on a winning team for something, you get extra like kudos and stuff. Yeah. And so it really works to build, and it's all cosmetic. So yesterday when I was streaming with Cart, they had a black color on there, like you could color yourself black, and I was tempted to throw my crowns on it because I'm like, oh, I just want that color. And like it rotates every day, and I'm sure eventually they'll start to do like specials and stuff. So every day it'll be different. Animal costumes or different costumes with different colors, different patterns,
so keep going back for more
emotes and stuff. Yeah, and so you'll just wait for it to rotate back up if you want. But I don't know. Like, I think, like Em said when we were doing the introduction, was its simplicity is its strength, and like you look at the footage that's playing behind us. This is the grab a tail one. So like
I hate this one. I'm so bad.
And this is the final grab a tail. So there's like two levels of grab a tail. There's like the one where it's like teams, and like you've got to have the most, like you got to not be the lowest ranking team with tails. Yeah, but the solo one is brutal because like once you've grabbed it, you got to wait until the end. So if you start with it, it's almost better to lose it at the start. Like I would honestly say it's better to lose at the start, because then there's no pressure on you to keep it. Like, let someone else deal with that and then snipe them in the last 30 seconds. And so the strategy becomes the meta, as opposed to being, I know how to do this particular maneuver, I know how to do this particular like micro or macro. It's more about just legitimately, okay, the best way to do this is to fake it out this way, and then with the team tail one, for example, one of the best strategies I've found is to hide near where one of the spinny hammers are. And I remember I was red team and there was a guy in the yellow team. We both had tails.
I've seen a lot of people doing that.
Yeah, and so we just both stood there, and it was that kind of understanding of like, I'm going to touch you, ain't going to touch me. Like, we're cool, man, but like, I ain't moving from here. And and so you do like the emotes. I was doing like the waves, and like, and so we were just standing there, and then blue team came up and tried to get us, and so I'm like, cool. And I was just running around him just to far enough, like, and then the hammer got him, and he got sent flying. I'm like, sweet. And then like five of them came at me. I'm like, all right, now it's time for me to go. So I just jumped in front of the hammer and got flung halfway across the map.
I love jumping in front of the hammer and just launching. It's fantastic.
Yeah. And
the hammer doesn't kill you every time it launches you, but if you land somewhere bad, then you die. Like you're out.
Because someone will grab your tail.
I got stuck on like the fan, and then it like whacked me against the wall, and then back to the fan, and I just got stuck in a fan loop.
That does happen. That's the spin one. Yeah, that fan map is brutal.
If you get knocked out and you're out of the game, how long do you have to wait to go to?
You can just cancel straight away. So you can spectate if you want. So like the problem with it is that you can't. Yeah, see that literally just what I said happened then. The guy had stolen with 2 seconds to go. And so, you just see him there contemplating life. And so you're right in that, like, how do I phrase it?
I don't know.
It is a good question.
Say the question again.
Or I could just join in match.
So you can spectate, but once you're in between, like once you're in the loading of the next one, you can't leave until the next bit happens. So the best bet is to either leave or watch, because like you might as well just leave straight away. As soon as you're out, as soon as you see eliminated, exit to menu.
Mm-hmm. Is this game better with mates, or I can join and play with strangers? But is like the connection to the game playing with a whole bunch of mates?
The chat makes it way better. Like being on voice chat with people makes it way, way, way better. Like you can solo queue, but it's the same as like I used, I guess, the comparison point to Overwatch earlier. This is very much the same, where if you jump into a solo queue of Overwatch, you can have a good time, but it's not super common. You feel particularly frustrated when you jump into the first round, and because the first round is really like, it seems super easy, and it is, and there is a little bit of strategy to hanging back and jumping through the crowd, but if you lose 3 matches in a row, you're like, I'm so goddamn sick of this. But when you're with people, it makes it way better to deal with it, because you're also commentating, you're trying to watch them stuff up. I mean, you want to support them, but you want to watch them stuff up. Stuff like that.
And the other part as well is when it does come time for team games, you will always get put in the same team. Like you because there's
that sense of like camaraderie as well when you are together.
Oh, that's so good.
Yeah, so like we were playing with Kart, and we got into the last map.
Yeah.
And we lost to the guy, but he played so well the whole time, and you were just like, yeah, fine. Like, he earned it. Like, he played so well in the team game. He played so well in that last map. It's like, whatever. I just got outdone. So you don't mind that. But like I say, it's just when randoms will grab you and like kill themselves to kill you, and I'm like, what do you gain from this?
It's like, when Kart held on to someone just before the finish line, and someone else jumped through, and you're like, what are you doing?
Yeah, so Tom, and the funny thing is that was one that Tom was in. I'm pretty sure Tom was holding the guy back already. Cardi just had to run, and he decided he wanted to like bully kids, and then like he lost because the guy got away from both of them and just ran through the thing, and then they both like that was the thing. So that is the one thing about being in a party is like. So you're in a party together, and I can see you just see the little arrows above the head, so I can see that Cardi's coming or Jack's coming. So I can, if I want, stand there and guard edges, and I've done it before for Cart where. He'll be coming along, and then he went the other side, and I'm like, well, no, because you're usually okay. You're either out in the first 2 seconds.
I'm either gone or I'm very much here.
Yeah, or you're actually doing all right. Yeah, and so whereas he was like, he had like the seesaw one is the worst one in the game. It is like for all the team games, like everybody's so annoying. No one understands how a seesaw works. Like, it's amazing. Like, how did you people live this long?
Going like they just keep jumping on the crab side. And I'm
why jump onto it?
No one can go.
Didn't Fall Guys like tweet something about it being like, in this house we know how seesaws work or something?
Yeah. Because no one seems to know how it works. So that's the one that like someone like gets unlucky and then a bunch of people drop on it and then it just drops everyone off. So that's the one where I've been known to just shepherd aside. I'm like, if you come here, I'm going to grab you and I'm going to put you like I'm going to hold you over the edge. Like, you're going to try and jump off, I'm going to grab you. But only because I want it once there's enough room for. The people that you're in a party with to get across and just get across the line. You know what I mean? Like, don't be greedy. And that's the thing. The funniest part about that was Cardi was greedy. All he had to do was run. Tom was doing the shepherding for him. Tom was willing to take the loss for him. And he didn't run. And he grabbed and he grabbed and he just held on. It's like, no, just run. Like, there was one spot left. Just run. And so that's what works for this game is, again, its simplicity works. The meta comes from the strategies that you like invoke to accomplish your goals, but also like I say, I'm glad that they're getting rid of the cheaters. And as much as like I get furious when people just like grab me for no reason or like deliberately try and think when they're going to die themselves, like I still play it a lot, and it's such a great game to just pick up and play. And you know, I've put in a bunch of couple-hour sessions, you know, over the last 2 weeks that it's been out. Yeah, and so like because it's just a good game to wind down on or wind up on. So it's like I'm going to play X, but I'll chuck on Fall Guys for a bit or whatever. Anyone else on, jump on with them, play some Fall Guys, and Bob's your uncle. You know what I mean? Like it's real easy to pick up. It's real simple, and again, you know, people have a mindset when they think of Devolver games. It's edgy. It's got a particular vibe. I would argue that Devolver, despite that,
they have the range.
And there's an element. Yeah, there's an element.
Huge range.
Yeah, there's an element of truth to it, but at the same time, I think they do have a bit of range to it. Like Pikuniku and you know, Gris and stuff like that. Like they're all not edgy boy Katana Zero. And don't get me wrong, I love Katana Zero, but like it's not that kind of edgy boy stuff that they're known for. And Fall Guys is just this complete other side. I mean, good on Mediatronic for giving something like this a go. And I think Devolver was the right pick because, you know, they've made millions on it already. And they didn't need, like, you know, so
they didn't need
they've got their money back. Sony would have paid them millions of dollars to have it as an exclusive on there.
Plus, yeah.
For Plus, you know.
Oh, and a console launch. That's right, yeah.
Yeah, they've made their money, and yeah, they've definitely done a great job. It's going to be the thing for them is going to be A, keeping on top of cheaters, B, names as we experienced, Jack. We had a lot of interesting names come up on thing, and ours were pretty innocuous, but at the same time, like, you're some mum watching your kid play, and then suddenly there's this,
well, I mean, on PlayStation,
CUM, like, you probably don't want that for your
PlayStation. It's not as easy too, but if you're on Steam, you can change your Steam name to include HTML code to change the properties of the name, and so people are like blowing up the font of the thing or changing the color of it, and it's just ridiculous. Some of the names that you see or some of the weird effects, it's like big text and it's all vertical, and you're like, what are you doing?
It's dedication.
It's so but I think that's going to be the second part, and the third hurdle is just going to be ongoing content. Like
Content's going to be hard.
Each season pass has to have its own. And like it'll have to have, and like we've had enough big multiplayer games now that people understand the patterns for this kind of games. Like they understand the user drop off, the retention phases. They know when to kick all of those in. There's been enough games succeed and fail at it that they know it's going to. So it's going to be interesting for them to see how they do it. I think eventually they'll introduce some kind of like, you know, it'll be like a meta kind of arc over it. Like it can be Fall Guys TV where it's literally just watch people play it kind of thing. You know, and have, you know, fun watching people fail at it and stuff. And I think
it has a lot of potential for conventions and LANs and just events that they don't have to worry about any particular like MA rating. They can just chuck it on and anyone can play. I think there's a low barrier to entry, which will keep it going and the popularity for a really long time to come.
And I think, like you were saying, Jack, I think that, you know, here's a free one because I don't have the time for it. Is doing like an MXC style like commentary over it would be pretty funny. Do you know what I mean? Like you could definitely do like
I can imagine really great commentators making it hilarious, especially if you got like
or even if they did like a Wipeout parody, but in Fall Guys,
just
like the commentary.
So you could definitely do that real easy. And like I say, it's a game that I will keep playing. It's obviously not something I think it's not something you need to necessarily dedicate quote unquote time to.
No,
but I think it's definitely something that
it's safe to revisit for like potentially years. Like it's a safe go back to.
It's a good platform. I think that is probably every game that's doing this kind of thing is trying to move towards a platform. And I think as a platform, the basics are there. You know, it doesn't feel bare bones in a Sea of Thieves kind of way where it's like, well, where's the actual content? This is like, here is the core gameplay loop, here is the core premise. It's good enough on its own right to stand. We can add all these things on later and they'll just make it better. You know, like I think in a lot of ways it is it's setting itself up for at least a couple of years of thing before they start to play with it. And I think it'll disrupt the BR market more than people expect.
The Battle Royale,
I love it. It's a really great addition to the VR, for sure.
Good stuff. Fall Guys is available now on PC and PS4. It's also on PlayStation Plus at the moment. If you literally just want to sign up, don't buy it on PlayStation at the moment because you literally just get on PlayStation Plus. You need PlayStation Plus. I'm not highlighting anyone, but I'm just like...
You know, this is a story for another episode because I don't want to get shaded right now.
That is a wrap on that is a wrap on New Game Plus TV this week. Thank you so much for hanging out with us. If you've been joining us on Twitch, we We record every single Thursday night. Don't ask the time. We don't know. C31 and C44 weekly. We're still figuring out the specifics of that, but you can check us out on C31 in Melbourne or C44 in Adelaide. And as a podcast, Jason, Em, and Meg, thank you so much for joining us. And
thanks for having me.
Thank you everyone for watching, and we'll catch you next time.